All right, guys, so you've seen Dan. He's been installing the set of these Sport 700s, again, without having to drop the engine or even dropping the crossmember for that matter. We did have the crossmember dropped when we were doing the low profile mounts. So these motor mounts definitely make it a lot easier. It helps, especially with the inlet piping. You don't have to do any grinding on the mount bracket itself for the inlet pipes, but these bad boys are in. We have exhaust manifolds that we've also installed. So we've done the twofer, so to speak, exhaust manifolds, turbos, and then we also have the BDE low profile mounts. While we were there, we removed the oil filter tree, we replaced the gasket and the O-ring that goes on this bad boy, and we're basically now just putting all our oil lines, coolant lines on. We've got the driver's side just about wrapped up, and we're getting there. So hopefully by next week we'll have this bad boy on the dyno, and we'll see what it brings. So today, Brian's gone, and he's racing not only in the NASA series, but he's going to start doing grid life. So for grid life, we got to make sure that we keep the power at about 235 wheel. So to keep that class very competitive, all the cars need to be making 235 wheels. So you want to keep that power band and try to hold it as long as you can all the way through the red line. So today we've gone ahead and done that. We hit our target of about 235 average all the way across, so that he can have that cal for that racing series. So pretty much standard fare. It's a full track car. It's got a full cage, Stillen Gen 3 intakes on it, full exhaust, nothing too crazy. A lot of it, of course, you guys know, is a track car. Don't need to make a ton of power. In this case, of course, we've limited it, substantially, but it's all about your aero, your cooling, your suspension, and of course the driving. So Brian's had a lot of seat time in this bad boy, and we'll look at the dyno chart, of course, but you can see that we're holding 235 across the power band as best as possible. So with that being said, Brian's gonna have a few little words, just talk about how he got into racing a Z and why he does it, and the thrill of it all. So it's about that seat time and being on the track. That's the whole fun part of owning one of these cars, being out there and enjoy it and beat up on it.
Hey, I'm Brian Hendricks, and this is my 2007 350Z Nismo. It's number 0647. It doesn't look like a normal Nismo anymore because it's been curtailed for racing. I got it bone stock in 2010 and just jumped right away. I think the first month I had it, I took it out to Buttonwillow with NASA in the HPDE program, a good buddy of mine. And it was the coolest thing I'd ever done. I'd been on track once before, and it was the most addictive thing you could do. You just see adrenaline rush, and there's just so much to learn. I'm older, so getting to do something and learn something from the start, from grassroots, is something that's been awesome. As I've modified the car, I put a lot of time into learning the craft. A lot of seat time, a lot of simulator time, private coaching. NASA has great HPDE programs. Alfa Romeo Club has great programs on track. There's so many organizations out there where you can go there, take your car out there and learn, and you can do it in a safe environment. There's only so much seat time can get you. There's only so much that verbal instruction can get you. If you don't see data, you can't see where your braking points are supposed to be. You can't see the angle of the wheel, or where's your entry, where's your exit, where's your braking, when you're getting on the throttle. It's a great way to improve, and when you've got enough seat time to bury an old guy, you need the numbers. Yeah, I don't know what else. That's about all I got. I love my car. I love going fast, and I haven't had a speeding ticket since.
We're just wrapping up this 2009 Nismo 370z. It came to us already supercharged. We went ahead and did a little bit more of an upgrade. It already has the really cool Soho air-to-air V2 light kit. Really like this kit because it utilizes the stock intake manifold. So that's really nice. And it also allows you to run an intake. This car doesn't have the intake pipe that comes off it. It's still running a turbo guard. You know, the turbo guard is going to give you the best power. It's got the least amount of restriction in it. So what we did is we took the V3 SCI blower, we shipped it off to Vortec. They're really not far from us, which is really cool. They're in the Channel Islands. And within a couple of weeks, we had this bad boy back. We upgraded it to a V3 SI. We left the same exact pulley size on there. With the SI, it's already gonna make more than enough boost. We also added a secondary fuel pump. So the car already had the CJM twin pump assembly. We just had to install an additional pump, a hop switch to trigger it, and both pumps, of course, are running on their own dedicated relay. So the second pump doesn't come on until it's required with boost. So roughly about 5-6 pounds of boost. The second pump kicks on and it's there to provide more volume of fuel. Already had the Injector Dynamics 1300s, so definitely on the supercharged engines, the 1050s, when you're running 85 and you're just over 600 wheel, just isn't quite enough on the dyno. It will squeeze out enough to get the air fuel ratio where it needs to be. However, when you get it on the street, it'll start to lean out. Supercharged engines are always going to rob power. They're going to use more power up off the engine because you're driving that supercharger, right? So 1300cc injectors are definitely a must when you've got a V3 SI Vortec on there and you've got these air-to-air kits that are out there, and we're running 85. So twin pump 1300s really is what you need to get enough fuel delivery on 85 on these supercharged VQ37s. So enough of the jibber jabber. What did it make for power? Did extremely well. You know, the one downside to this supercharged setup is we can't really control boost. We can, but we have to do a few modifications, add an external wastegate to our charge piping, and then we can control boost through ECU or use a boost controller. But what ends up happening is these things will make a lot of boost, and in this instance, it's making about 16 pounds. So we really had to be super careful with how we tuned it on 91. I don't like really to make that kind of boost on 91, so we did what we had to on our ignition timing side to make that all happy. And of course, we tune with our knock headphones, so we're listening for knock. Really critical, especially when you're running with high boost like this on 91. 523 wheel and 388 foot-pounds of torque on 91 octane. So horsepower is really good, and that is with keeping the timing back from where normally we could run, you know, a little bit more timing in a 9-10 PSI scenario on 91 octane. So extremely great power on 91 octane. Put E85 in it, of course the boost stays the same, 16 pounds. On both those passes it was exactly 16.4, but just putting in some E85, got the ethanol content up to about E70. And this thing is making 661 with no issue, so not even breaking a sweat. Our torque climbs to almost 470 foot-pounds, so we're right below 500, which is nice. One thing to add, again, because of this turbo guard, we're really getting a lot of air into the blower and into the engine. You know, the downside, again, of course, is, you know, you really have unfiltered air. So, you know, adding the inlet and intake will definitely help, you know, protect the engine, but of course it will drop in power some. So that's just something to keep in mind. So, you know, a lot of these power figures that are pretty good like this, most of the time they'll have a blower guard on there because there's really no restriction. These things are pretty sensitive. So the Soho kit's really nice, kind of comes down through here, and it's, you know, keeping the intake pipe size, you know, roughly the same size of that as that inlet blower, paired with a good air filter. So yeah, all in all, really good results from this thing, and the customer is going to be ecstatic. So catch you on the next one.